Back here on Locked On Baylor, alongside Sydney Wicker on this Wicker Wednesday. I'm Cam Stewart. Guys, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, find us on YouTube, wherever you find your podcasts as well. Talking nothing but Baylor athletics 5 days a week. We're the only ones doing that. I swear, we're the only ones doing that in the podcast form. Sydney's doing it on TV news as well. Obviously, Sydney, it was a seismic week in college sports. This House settlement coming down. We're all still trying to kind of iron things out and see what's going on with this, the implications. We had Brandon McKinnon on yesterday talking about what this could mean for Baylor. And Baylor Plus put out this exclusive interview, John Morris, voice of the Bears, with Mack Rhoades, sitting down for almost an hour trying to really sift through this. And I mean, really sift through this, parse through this entire thing. And Mack Rhoades said something in there that I think is really important for the outlook on Baylor athletics, mainly basketball and football. And he took a bit of a shot while he was doing it. Listen in.
I think gone are the days where you have a $15 to $20 million basketball roster, where you have a $30 to $40 million football roster. And please, right, I am a huge believer, big believer in terms of our student athletes earning NIL in terms of their brand. But what we've been doing, as mentioned previously over the last 2 years, is strict, pay for play. We felt it here when we paid a particular student athlete 7 figures, and that student athlete left for a better seven-figure deal. And so I think there will be market correction.
I wonder who he was talking about there. Sydney, can you remember another athlete this year not named Rob Wright who turned down a 7-figure deal and went to another school for a better 7-figure deal?
Can't say I do.
I love Mack, right? I think he's great at his job, and I think he knows exactly when to speak his mind and how to speak his mind. We saw when Scott Drew got ejected from that Iowa State game last year, he came up before the press conference and he said, look, I don't do this. I'm not going to Mark Harlan this thing before Mark Harlan was even Mark Harlaning. He was like, but that was a disgrace. Like that officiating, it was a disgrace. I'm going to talk to the league. And he just kind of picks his spots. On the Mosley show last year, he called out Chris Kapilovic after leaving after a couple of weeks and saying, we pay our coaches pretty well. We expect a commitment. He knows when to do it and when to say it. That was a clear jab at Rob Wright, really Rob Wright Jr., Rob Wright's dad, who was orchestrating this whole thing. But I think it speaks to why this is good for schools like Baylor and a lot of schools in the Big 12, right? Like, we're not going to be left out because we can't pony up $20 million for a basketball roster. Is outside of the shot there, is that kind of how you read it, Sydney?
Yeah, I think it's just leveling the playing fields again and giving more opportunity, but not taking anything away, which is huge. So like you said, we're still trying to understand all of this. There's so much more that has come out and we're trying to navigate. And it's so hard when you have to deal with legal terms and all this X, Y, and Z.
Right.
I did not go to law school. I don't know. It's
not
tough.
Yet.
But yeah, not yet. Probably, I don't think that's on my to-do list, but if we ever.
Yeah, if you get the time. Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah, seriously. Can't be too hard. But we saw college sports change for sure. And hopefully this is a step for the better.
Yeah. And there are obviously challenges to it. It is going to be tough for, Baylor and TCU and Oklahoma State to cut in $20.5 million a year for that going up. But like you say, it kind of levels it out in terms of really trying to monitor the spending. And what I got from that too is look, we don't need to relitigate the whole situation. We did plenty of segments and episodes on this, but that Rob Wright thing really cut deep inside the Baylor walls as not just an isolated Rob Wright situation, but the greater view of college sports. You can tell that there, that's still something that is lingering there. Is that what you kind of got from it? Because that was my big takeaway, was clearly they're not going to go out and say it when it happens, but they were really pissed off about that.
I mean, you don't say that if it doesn't still linger.
Yeah.
Like,
Right?
you know
They
when
have
somebody
to.
like an ex or whatever says something or does something, like, and you get your chance to just like a
Yeah.
little stab back, like that's what
Don't I
it
know? Yeah.
was. We
Yes.
all know.
Yeah. Like we've all been there. And yes, that's
Yeah.
what it screams. Like not, I mean, I guess in a way it's bitter, but we're obviously biased, but it is justified. Like they really felt the rug was pulled out from underneath them, whether it was the player or the player's dad. It was the player's dad. They are still PO'd about it. And I think we talked about it at the time of like, this is a greater view of the college sports world that we're in. What BYU did and what some other schools did, by the way, in the bidding process was not illegal. Like they're not getting on probation because they went out and paid 7 figures for Rob Wright. We're not saying it's not illegal. We're not saying it's not part of what college basketball and college sports are right now. What we are saying is the kid made a commitment. He was getting paid a lot of money, but because of the guidelines the NIL had and the transfer portal has and college sports has, he was able to do that. And this, hopefully, this new house settlement, if nothing else, will curtail a little bit of NIL and make sure something like that isn't happening where they're just able to raise $3.5 million and sneak a kid in like that, right?
Oh, for
Like, that's
sure.
what we're hoping.
I think too, the reason that, Rhoades still holds on to this a little bit is because everybody, not that we felt gaslit, but it was such a surprise. Like, if there was one player we relied on their leadership to come back and to be
Yeah.
the emerging leader for, it was Rob. And I remember watching him in that Mississippi State game or even the Duke game, and I was like, this is the next kid. Like, it was
It's gotta be.
so
Yeah.
clear. And then for all this to happen and him to not only go to BYU, but it was a team within the conference. It was just like, wow, like at least, go to the SEC or the Big Ten. Like, let's switch gears.
Come on. Yeah.
But like,
Villanova,
yeah,
very okay with that. Fine. Well, not okay, but like, fine. Let's, get us out of our hair, so to speak. And by the way, that wasn't just you and I saying that. That was internal conversations. That was Scott Drew thinking that. Whether he's going to say it or not, when it's that kind of commitment, that's like, hey, man, we're going to lose a lot of the roster. You are our guy. We are giving you the keys here. So a little subtle shot by Mack Rhoades. I mean, not too subtle.
I love it.
Anybody else that he could be talking about. I love it too. Like that is worth it to me. It's talk your feces, Mack Rhoades.